Hey everyone, Praveen this side. I hope you guys are doing great. So today we are going to solve the problem non-repeating character, which is an easy level problem. So let's read the problem description. The problem description says given a string S consisting of lowercase Latin letters, return the first non-repeating character in S. That is, we have been given a string S with lowercase letters. Now we need to return the first non-repeating character in S. If there is no non-repeating character, return dollar. That is, if we don't have any non-repeating character, right, then we need to return dollar. Here, the note point says, when you return dollar, driver code will output -1. That is, when we return dollar, right, in output console, we can see the output as -1. So the problem description is very clear. Now let's see the examples. In the example 1, the input is GEEKS, FOR, GEEKS, and the output is F. The explanation says in the given string, F is the first character in the string which doesn't repeat. That is, if we check properly, for this G, we already have a G here. For this E, we already have a E. Again for this E, we have this E. For this K, we have this K. For this S, we have this S, right? So till here, none of them is repeating. But for this F, we don't have any repeating characters, right? And F is the first character which has not repeated, right? That's why we outputted it as F. Okay. And in the second example, the string is RACECAR and the output is E. The explanation says in the given string, E is the only character in the string which doesn't repeat. That is, if we again apply the same operation, for this R, we already have a R. For this A, we already have a A. For this C, this C. But A is the only character which is not repeating, right? That's why we have written E. Now finally, in our example 3, the string is AABBCCC, but the output is -1 because all the characters in the given string are repeating. That is, for this A, we have this A. For this B, this B. For this C, all these C's, right? So the string became empty. We don't have any extra character, right? That's why the output is -1, right? But in the code, we had written dollar. That's why it converted to -1, as the explanation said here, right? Now we have understood all the examples. Let's take example 1 as reference and try to find few observations from it. So for a given string, what we were doing, when we are at the ith character, we were checking in the whole string whether the occurrence of that particular character is present or not. Suppose we were at character G. Now we were checking in the whole string whether G is present or not. We found that G is present here. That's why we discarded G as being first non-repeating character, right? Now suppose we are at this point where the character is K. Now again we were checking in the whole string whether K is present or not. We found that K is present here. So we were discarding K, right? So it's both forwards and backwards that we need to check for the repetition. But if we consider F, neither backwards nor forwards, we have the same character F repeating anywhere, right? That's why our result is F. But is F is the only non-repeating character? No, because for O, both backwards and forwards, we don't have any repeating character. But our question was to find the first non-repeating character. So in that case, F is the first non-repeating character, right? So we have got the idea, right? That whenever we are at a particular position, we need to check in the whole string whether that character is repeating or not. So we have understood the logic, right? That we need to iterate from starting of the string to ending of the string, and at any position, if the character is non-repeating, that is, it doesn't occur both backwards or forwards, then we need to return the particular character. As we are going sequentially from starting to end, then at whatever point we get the non-repeating character, that will be considered as first repeating character, right? So to solve this, we need to use two loops, right? One loop is to point at the character we are standing, and the another loop to check in the whole string, that is, whether this character is repeating or not, right? So let's see the code. How can we solve it? So this is the code for our brute force approach. The function name is non-repeating character and the string passed is s. So firstly, I have taken the string size and stored it in n. Okay. And I'm checking if the n size is 1. That is, if only a single character is given, then we can return the 0th index character, right? But if it is not the case, then I'm looping in the string from 0 to n to point the position that we are standing at. And inside, I have created two variables, is occurring to false and the target character, that is s of I. Now, what does this is occurring variable represent? I'm assuming that the character we are considering, that is the target character, is a non-repeating character. Okay.
And enter and running another loop from j equals to 0 till n and checking whether I is not equals to j and s of j is equal to target character.
Now, what does this condition represents? Suppose I am at the ith index. Now, my jth index will be starting from start to end, right? Now, it might cross over this point too, right? So, I don't want to compare the same character with itself. So, that's why I have written this condition. Now, what does this case represents? Now, suppose we are at this index g and the index is not same, right? But have we found the same occurrence? Yes, we have found it here, right? And s of j is equal to target character. Then whatever we have assumed is occurring to be false is not, right? It is occurring. So I have marked it as true and I have break the loop because we just need to check the occurrence, right? If the character is matched, then we need not be checking further, right? So that's why I have break the loop. Now, after we execute this loop, we will get a clarity. That is, whatever we have assumed that is occurring to be false. If it never entered this if condition, then it will be remained as false. But if it enters this condition, then it will be marked as true. So the same I am checking here, that if is not occurring, that is, if is occurring is false that we have assumed, then I am returning the target character. And if it is not, then after we execute this whole loop, I am returning dollar. Now with this, what's happening? When I'm at the ith index, my jth index is starting from this point, again this, again this, again this, again this, till the last. And in the whole occurrence, when the index is not same and my character got matched, then the occurring is true and I'm breaking the loop. Okay. But if it is not the case, I'm returning the target character. Now, what will be the time complexity for this approach? Since we are using two nested for loops of both size n and n, so the time complexity will be O of n square. And what will be the space complexity? Here, we are not using any extra data structure apart from creating variables, right? So the space complexity will be O of 1. So we have built this logic based on our pure observation and the first initial thought that we got. But can we optimize this time complexity from O of n square to somewhere O of n log n or directly to n? Let's see that. Now, what was the main issue with our brute force code? At any character that we are standing, we need to check the whole string whether that same character is present or not. Right. So, this was taking the time complexity of O of n square. Now, suppose we are at a particular character and we know the frequency of the particular character, then can't we say that whether the character is repeating or not? That is, if we see the occurrence of k in the whole string, that is, for character k in the whole string, the frequency of k is 2, right? So, if we know this information in prior, can't we say that this k is repeating or not? Yes. Now, in the similar way, for each character in this string, if we store their frequency, then at any particular point, we can say whether that character is repeating or not based on the frequency. If it is not a repeating character, then we would be having that frequency as 1. Simple. Now here I have written each character with the frequency. That is, G is occurring twice. One is here and one is here. K is occurring twice. One is here and one is here. Right. Now let's start from the first character. The first character is G and the frequency is 2. So we can ignore this. The second character is E and the frequency is 4. So again ignore E. Again 4. Ignore K. K's frequency is 2. So we can ignore it. Now S. S frequency is 2. Ignore. F. Now F frequency is 1. That means F has occurred only once in the whole string. So F is the character which has occurred only once in the whole string. And as we are going sequentially from starting position to ending position, F is the first non-repeating character. Simple. So here itself we can return F as the result, right? But after executing the whole loop, that is we execute this, and we never got a character whose frequency is 1, right? So we can simply return dollar and in output we can see it as -1. Now, with this, we have made the optimization, right? That we have shown in the brute force code. What was the pain point? The pain point was this for loop, right? So we observed how can we remove this for loop. For that, we saw that we can store the frequency and later in the second execution, we can use the same frequency and get to know whether that character is repeating or not. And as we are starting from starting index to end index, right? That is, we are going in this order. So whatever character has the frequency 1, that will be the first non-repeating element. Simple. Now since we have understood the logic, let's see the code for this. Now again the code in C++, but with the same logic. I have taken a frequency array of size 26, initialized every character to 0. Now why did I take the size 26? Because in lowercase characters we only have a range from small a till small z, and the size between them is 26, right? So that's why I have taken character size. So that's why I have taken the frequency array size as 26 and marked everything to 0. Now in this array of type integer, how can we fit the character? There's a simple trick. For any character, if you subtract it with a, so this ASCII's value and this ASCII's value get separated and we'll get a number, right? Now that number will be acting as a index for this array. For example, if we take character A and we subtract the character with A, now both will be having some ASCII value, right? And both will be having the same ASCII value because both are A. So if we subtract it, we'll get the index 0. So for character A, the index is 0. Similarly, for B, the index will be 1. C index will be 2 and so on till Z, where index will be 25. So that's why this will be justified. Okay. Now, so this is a for of loop which directly gives the character instead of accessing the character by using the traditional for loop and using s of I, right?
So enter this loop, I'm getting the index by doing ch minus a, right? And at that index, I'm incrementing the frequency by 1. Simple.
Now after this loop, again I am looping in each character of s and checking whosever frequency of that character has value 1. I am returning that character because that will be the first non-repeating character, right? And at any case, this character is not returned and the whole for loop execution is completed. Then I'm returning dollar as per question. Simple. So the code is very simple, right? Now let's see how we optimized it. What will be the time complexity for this approach? Here we are running two individual for loops. So for this, the time complexity will be O of n, and again for this, the time complexity will be O of n. So the overall time complexity will be O of n, which is very, very optimized than O of n square, right? And what will be the space complexity for this? Here we have took a frequency array. So you might be thinking the space will be O of n, but it is no, because for the frequency array, we have a static size of 26, right? Which is as good as constant. So the space complexity will be O of 1, because we already know how much space is going to take and it will never exceed the space, right? So this way, we have optimized our time complexity and have optimized our code as well, because this code was very lengthy, right? But this code is very minimal. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys really did, then please like, share and subscribe to my channel. It will really motivate me to post more videos like this. If you have any doubts, please comment it down. I'll try to respond to it as quickly as possible. And if you have any feedback for my teaching, please comment it down too so that I can improve on that. So see you guys in the next video solving any other problem code. Till then, stay safe, stay happy and peace.